Okay, time check. It's 16 minutes past 12 o'clock. Good afternoon to you. Smailz Radio 98.7 FM is the station you are tuning to. And you already know it's another week, a brand new week. And what does that mean? It means another episode of Oil and Gas Watch right here on Smailz Radio 98.7 FM. Back on your airwaves, breaking down the latest in the oil and gas world, market moves, fuel trends, energy policies, and of course the stories that shape your daily life. So whether you're driving, you're working, or just tuning in to stay informed, stay with us on Smailz Radio 98.7 FM. My name is Blessing Robinson, and as you know, on every episode, I don't do this alone. Olatide Jeremiah is here. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Stories shaping the oil and gas industry, and here are the headlines. The week started last week with the headline from Monday, July 7th, where we have the story here that says oil prices to stay below $70 as supply outpaces demand, says experts.
Yeah, the week started on a very high note. Oil prices started on a fluctuating note, and the industry experts, most times they make their forecasts. They forecast about prices declining or surging. A renowned expert in the US, in person of Mark Tommel, the corporate manager of Tortious Capital, forecasted the prices of crude oil, Brent crude, will remain between $68 to $70. Like it's going to go below $70. And the WTI, that's the West Texas Intermediate, it's a crude oil basically used in the US. He also forecasted that that particular product is going to remain between $63 to $65. So the logic behind this is this: as traders, you need to be informed to make decisions. You need to know, oh, prices are going up, prices might surge, prices might decline. So you know when to buy and where to buy. So that is why you see experts coming up with opinion, forecast, and all of that. So basically, the reason behind this is demand and supply. I've always said it severally that what determines oil prices is demand and supply. And lately, we've had surge in supply. OPEC Plus is just like an association of oil producers, makes up of 8 countries. They came together to increase their production with over 500 barrels per day. So with that, it has hedged supply over demand. And the expert is saying that for supply hedging above demand, prices would not surge. Prices will remain below $70. But unfortunately, this month I speak with you, prices has rose even above $71. The price that I speak with you now is $72 per barrel. So sometimes experts come up with their forecast, and sometimes it comes out true, sometimes it would not come out true. But the most important thing is the reasons behind it and to learn from it. And the reason why we need to talk about oil prices, because oil prices determines our local prices here.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we've said that severally, that oil prices makes up 80% of the raw materials that makes up a refined product. So that is why we keep talking about oil prices. People should get to know. Even recently, one of the renowned experts in Nigeria also said that Nigerians should always pray not to have surge in oil prices.
Yeah.
The moment there is surge in oil prices, we would have surge in our local prices, and it might affect price at the pump.
Based on what you said, and based on what I read, because I actually did, go through all of that.
Yeah.
What will we say we are witnessing? Is it a temporary market cycle, or is this part of permanent global energy shift towards maybe renewable, the renewables and alternatives?
Well, basically, all of these decline and fluctuation are basically temporary. Prices will keep rising and falling. It is the model of the market. Global markets, oil markets fluctuate a lot. One of the hallmark of the oil industry, either the international oil industry or the local oil market here, is fluctuation of prices. So for now, demand and supply will keep rising and falling. Prices will keep rising and falling. Anytime we have any major tension, any major conflict between two countries that are inclined when it comes to refining or they produce oil, it's going to affect the prices. So, or when we have tariff or countries of the world imposing tariff on other upcoming countries, third world countries, you see decline or surge in price. So those are the three factors that determine rise or fall in crude oil prices. First, demand and supply. Second factor, tension. Third factor, tariff.
Demand and supply, tension, and tariff.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we move on to Tuesday, July 8th. Headlines for that day says Dangote Refinery cuts ex-depot petrol price to 820 naira. So Dangote Refinery has announced a reduction in its ex-depot petrol price to 820 naira per litre, sparking conversations across the industry, basically. Now my question is, what is this about? It's like a back and forth.
The reason behind all of this, it's going to be tied to the oil prices. The moment Dangote start getting its crude from Nigeria, the reliance on the fluctuation of oil price will not be there. The reason why we're having this issue is that 50% of his crude is being sourced internationally. So he would sell based on the current prevailing prices. Are you getting me? So that's why you see every now and then there is always a surge. This is the 11th time Dangote is reviewing his prices here. And I said earlier that it is not good for the industry. But because he is relying on international crude, that is why you see these changes. So hopefully, as we go along with our stories, we're going to go where he is saying that by the end of this year, Nigeria should be able to source locally made crude 100%. So they will be depending on our crude instead of sourcing it abroad. So as soon as there is full dependence on our crude here, all of those regular review of price will stop, because our crude will be sourced in naira, our crude will be sourced with some kind of credit facility, and it's going to take a whole lot of expenditure attached to it. When you get crude from US, from Angola, logistic costs, port costs, Nimasa cost, a lot of cost comes with it, and it makes up your selling price, your refining cost, I mean. So, but when you source here, all of those costs will be eliminated. You are getting it in naira. There's going to be like a preference for you, because you are like the major refiner in Nigeria, and you are going to get a credit facility, hopefully, from the federal government. Oh, I'm going to give you this number of crude. You could pay after selling, and with all of that, there will be balance. There won't be this fluctuation of prices.
So are you saying that full dependence on our crude
will stop.
Totally.
Stop it totally. That is it. It's only we're going to have decline. It's not going to be every now and then. Now, look at it. In less than 14 days, prices have been reviewed twice. From 880 to 840, from 840 to 820 in just less than 2 weeks. That's ridiculous for me. It affects decision making. As a business owner, you need to make informed decisions. But when prices are up and down, it affects how you make your decisions. So hopefully, I know the federal government is working towards making sure that local refineries get crude 100%. And as soon as they get crude 100%, this decline would go. This review, decline or increase of petroleum prices will reduce, and all of that.
We touched on one of the headlines from Tuesday, and there is another one here. And this one says Dangote to use only local crude by 2025. I guess this is just something we're talking about. So you want to...
This is timely because unfortunately, Nigeria is the major and the biggest producer of oil in Africa, with a 1.6 million barrels per day. That is huge. But unfortunately, our refineries still depend on foreign crude. According to the vice chairman of Dangote, he last week he had an interview, and he said crude supply has improved reasonably lately. That from 30%, the crude they get from federal government has moved to 53%. They now get more than six vessels of crude on a monthly basis. That it has moved to the source 47% abroad from the US, Angola, and I think Algeria. Why the source 53% from Nigeria, basically here. So he is of the opinion that the reason why Dangote is not dependent on our crude 100% is because the previous government have done pre-sales. They've sold our crude in advance to foreign buyers. They've sold 80% of our crude. That for every 1.5 million barrels we produce daily, 1.2 goes out based on the advances they've done. They've collected, as in they've made down payment for those products. That what they get is between 300 to 400,000 barrels per day. That is refinery and refinery shares. Now, hopefully, most of those contracts are going to expire before the end of this year. And as soon as they expire, they will have access to crude. Dangote Refinery currently has a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day. What we produce is 1.6 million barrels per day. So you just need to give him just the 600,000 on it to Dangote alone. And as soon as I do that, 650,000 barrels per day could give us 100 million liters. If you convert that to liters, 100 million liters. And what do we consume? We consume between 60 to 50 million liters daily, according to the latest report by NMDPRA. So if what we consume daily is just 60 million liters, that is equivalent to 350,000 barrels per day. And you apportion 600,000 barrels per day to Dangote, with that, prices will drop because it's going to be in Naira. There will be some sorts of credit for him and all of that. So hopefully, I know these are strategies. Election is around the corner, and the federal government would want prices to drop, and they would want to enhance the contract between Dangote and the NUPRC by making sure that it gets enough crude. Because if Dangote gets crude 100% in Nigeria, price will drop to 400 per liter. I can say that for free. The reason why we are buying 820 is because 47% of what he used is being sourced abroad, and the cost of buying in dollars, logistic cost, port cost, a whole lot of cost before bringing it here adds up that cost to 820. But the moment you start getting it locally here, price will drop to 400, 500, or even lesser per liter.
You know, when I saw this headline, the question I was going to ask you is, if Nigeria's upstream sector currently is equipped to meet Dangote's crude demand. But I think you just did justice to that. So, because that was what came to my mind. Like, even if Dangote wants to rely solely, on our local crude.
Let me say something. The target by the federal government, last 2 months, the NNPC's GCO was sacked, and they brought him in new management, and they gave them a target that the upstream must produce minimum of 2 million barrels per day by 2027 and 3 million barrels per day by 2030. But currently, we're on 1.5, 1.6, and Dangote just needs 600 to function better. If Dangote gets the 600 on the 1.6, he's okay. That is what he needs to operate daily. But unfortunately, we've done a lot of advanced sales. So many buyers have bought 3, 4, 5 years ahead. So you need to commit to that contract. So for every of our daily output, when it comes to crude oil, we need to fulfill that contract and give those buyers. That is why Dangote is still struggling to get crude. But hopefully, as soon as some of those contracts starts coming to an end, Dangote will go into a full-scale contract or relationship with federal government, and prices will drop.
Maybe see how that unfolds. Let's go to Wednesday, the headline from Wednesday, July 9th. This one says, Boas Commodities dominate Lagos Petroleum Depot. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, Boas Commodity is a leading marketing organization in Nigeria, and they have their base across the different depot locations from Lagos, Port Harcourt, Calabar, and Warri. But basically, they are in Lagos. They have petroleum products in different depots from satellite axis, and they are doing very well. And as a platform that tracks prices and indices in the industry, we really need to give it to Boas Commodity. They've really shown strength and credibility in that marketing space.
Can we say that Boas market dominance reflects healthy competition?
Yes, and they've dominated in the last 10 years. They came into force in 2015, sometimes February thereabout, and they've been up and doing the last 10 years, a decade, and they've been ahead, and they've attracted competition and efficiency in the industry. So they are doing well.
I mean, we're not seeing more like beginnings of monopoly kind of thing.
Yeah, no. It's highly deregulated. We get to see so many marketers around. They are bulk marketers. They buy from different depots and they resell to station owners. Okay. So that's what they do. So they are really they are the top when it comes to the Lagos space, the Lagos depot space.
Okay, and then on Thursday, July 10, Dangote faces fresh heat as depot cut price.
Yeah.
This is just what we're talking about.
Yeah. I said it earlier that the coming of Dangote in this industry has raised a lot of dust between the importers. You know, before now, we import 100% of our refined product. And the importation was a big deal, was a cash cow for importers. They've made billions of naira importing petroleum products. So, and sometimes they get to import substandard products and it affect our cars, our automobiles, and all of that. So now Dangote is on board now, saying, oh, importation or subsidy is a scam. It should go. We are going to refine here and supply petroleum product to every household in Nigeria. And understand that there's going to be a business conflict. You've been around for 2 decades, over 20 years, and someone is saying, oh, you don't need to do your regular importation again. You need to come get it from a refiner here. So because of that, there's been this intense competition. Every time Dangote reduces price, private debt also drops their prices. Because, you know, August 15 is around the corner. Dangote is releasing over 4,000 trucks to supply petroleum products across Nigeria. So everybody is anticipating that move. Nobody knows how it's going to play out. Everybody is trying to maintain or keep their market share. The private depot owners understand that Dangote has taken 50% share of the market. They don't want him to go further. He is trying to take over the market as the market leader. They're saying, no, we have been around. We would go head to head with you and make sure that this market share is being divided. You get your 50%, you get that 50%. But for me, it's a good one. Okay. This competition is a healthy one. Yeah, very healthy one. And I really want to see this competition keep going, because the more the competition gets deeper, price drops. The reason why do we see no queue in the last 6 months or 8 months? We've not had queues. Yeah. It is because of this competition. Why do we keep seeing prices of diesel? We've bought diesel at our filling station for 1,800 and 1,700 in Nigeria. We cannot do that again. The highest we could go is 1,001, 1,002. Currently, some stations even sell below 1,000. Some just sell 1,100 I speak with you because of the competition between Dangote, who is the major refiner, the manufacturer, and the importers. This case, the grasses are getting greener because as they keep fighting, keep going head to head, you see prices keep dropping. Nigerians will not buy those abnormal prices again at the pump. Those diesel for 1.5, 1.6, it will not happen again because of this intense competition. At the same time, we need to be careful. We shouldn't allow Dangote take over the market completely because currently it's a 50-50 market share. Dangote has 50%, the importers or the depot owners have 50%, and it's good. The moment you allow Dangote take over the market 80-90%, it calls the shots. Even if he increases his price today, the 10% would not be able to compete. But as I speak with you, they can still compete because they have 50%, he has 50%. So if it comes to more than, we're having challenges, we are raising our price 100%, the importers will fight it. And that balance would influence decline of prices at the pump. So competition is a good one. I can't wait. I just want to keep seeing them compete healthily.
Healthy competition, in your own view, that's your own view, might be healthy in your view, but then, for them, see how that unfolds.
It's a tug of war for them. Exactly. They are really feeling it.
To you, it's a healthy competition, but to them, it is not healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're kind of running out of time, so let's see the headline for Friday that says NNPCL eyes refinery sale amid soaring operating costs.
We had an intense engagement, conversation relating to selling of our refineries, and I had this strong notion, I had this strong belief that the only way our refineries could work efficiently is when they are being sold out or privatized. I want to use the right word, privatized.
Yes.
Some places want to hear that our national assets are being sold out. Hey, sometimes ago, Atiku said we're going to sell our refineries. Because of that, the opposition used it against him. That don't vote for someone that will sell our refineries. So let's use the right word, privatize. So let's use the right word, privatize. So fortunately, Dangote came up early this week. It wasn't part of our news roundup. He was of the opinion that our refineries cannot work. It was the breaking that our 4 refineries cannot work. That the reason being that those refineries are over 20 years. The Port Harcourt refinery came on board in the 60s. And most of the equipment they use in constructing those refineries are outdated. And they've not been maintained properly. That in 2005, Obasanjo sold out some of the refineries. I think the Port Harcourt refineries to himself and Olatide. So as soon as Yar'Adua came on board, he reversed that contract, saying that we cannot sell our national property. But it was the opinion that they made a very vision to have reversed that contract. So coming on board now, the current GCEO of NNPCL is of the opinion that most likely the refineries must be sold out. Recently, he was in a seminar in Australia where they had OPEC seminar in Australia, and he had an interview. They were asking him about the refineries, and he said, well, the refineries in Nigeria, most likely they're under review. They've not been working. They've spent $18 billion on rehabilitation of those refineries, and they've still not worked ever since then. Most likely they might be sold out. That all of those stakes are on the table. It might be sold out. And also, I've said this severally, if those refineries are not privatized to private individuals that will drive efficiency and effectiveness, those refineries will not work. And unfortunately, we might even sell them as scrap. If they don't sell them now, those refineries will be sold as scrap.
Okay, you think
It's the way out.
Is the
It's
way
the
out.
way out.
Okay, we'll see about that. And still NNPCL in the news,
Yeah.
Saturday, July 12th, and this one here says NNPCL may go public by 2028, says GCA. So just briefly touch on.
Basically, you know, NNPCL is now a private entity. According to the PIA bill, it has enacted it has taken it from being a government owned to a private owned. That's why you have the L. You know, it used to be NNPC before. Now it's now NNPCL. Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited. So that limited makes it a private entity where it has the managing director and all of that. So they are saying that now that we are now a private entity, we need to go public. We need to list it on our stock exchange. We need to bring in more funds. If you look at so many refineries of the world, the refineries in Angola that is doing well, it's listed on their stock exchange. One of the top refineries in Qatar is also listed on their stock. Most top refineries, most top government parastatals, the national companies are being listed. When you list it like that, it drives efficiency.
Okay.
Because you're bringing the public to bring in their funds to make decisions.
I love that we talk more of this because it's kind of broad.
Yeah.
But then we are really out of time.
Yeah.
And then lastly on Sunday here, this one says fuel and gas safety tips for owners. I believe that if you head to PetroleumPrice.ng, you can read out on that. And then this morning, what I was going through the dailies, a particular story caught my attention. And this one says Serap sues NNPCL over failure to account for missing 825 billion naira.
Yes. Well, it has been ongoing for a while now. Last 2 weeks, we had one of our stories where the Senate ordered that the GCEO of NNPC should come and explain 200 trillion naira that is being mismanaged. But unfortunately, the GCEO did not respond to that call by the Senate.